When you think about youth sports, do you want your child's coach to be properly prepared? Our guest today, Bill Clark, will talk about that right after this on the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, sports administrators, and sports personalities. Thanks for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Now here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello and welcome in to this episode of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Thank you for making us a part of your weekly routine. Our show is brought to you each week by our friends at Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Since day one, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has been the proud premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. I am glad to be joined today by Coach Bill Clark. Many of you will recognize his name. He spent the later part of the 1990s and the early part of the 2000s over at Prattville High School just outside of Montgomery, where he won a couple of football state championships. A lot of folks here that are familiar with the University of Alabama, Birmingham will remember him as the head coach there. He also spent a year as the head coach over at Jacksonville State. And Bill, great to have you joining me today.
Tim, thank you for having me.
Bill, for those in this Southwest Georgia area that may not be familiar with you, give us a little bit of your background that led you to what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'll take you all the way back. Like a lot of guys, was the son of a football coach. Mom was a home ec teacher. Knew I wanted to do that from as long as I can remember. I think the big things for me were just the relationships, the coaches, the players. Loved it when the guys came to the house, the locker room, the pregame speeches, all the things about training young folks. I loved every bit of it. I knew I wanted to be a coach as long as I can remember, and played at Piedmont High School and was going to go on and try and play in the next level, and end up injuring my back, which ended up playing a role as I stepped down a few years ago. But it allowed me to start coaching early. Started coaching my second year of college after I couldn't play, and my dad was a high school coach. So I coached for him for 3 years, coached in Alabama, came to Douglas, Georgia, believe it or not, down in South Georgia for 2 years at Coffee County, came back to Alabama. In 99, I got my first head job. I'd kind of waited for was Prattville High School. We ended up having pretty good success there, which led me to go to South Alabama, where we started the program from scratch, which was very interesting. 2008, we started South Alabama and ended up the fastest in the history of teams going to the FBS level. We were the fastest anybody had ever done it. 2012 was my last season there, and then got to go to my alma mater, 2013 Jacksonville State. We made it to the third round of the playoffs that year. Followed Jack Crow, who's part of this Coach Safely story. And so 2014, I'm happy everything's good, and UAB calls, chance to be an FBS head coach in the state. Jumped at it. Everybody knows the story probably. Maybe doesn't know all the details, but after the 2014 season, we get bowl eligible. They'd won 5 games in 3 years prior to that, and we get bowl eligible when they shut our program down. So 6 months later, the people fought. We bring the program back. 2015 and 2016, we do all the recruiting and things to try and bring it back. 2017, we come back, get bowl eligible that year, ended up winning 3 of the West championships, 2 conference championships. We beat BYU in 2021, and I retired after that, ended up with a back fusion. Doing well, but the thing you asked about is really what I'm doing now, which is Coach Safely Foundation. I'm the president of Coach Safely Foundation and of Play Safely, which is our technology side of our company, and it's all about youth coach training. We passed a law in 2018. Jack Crow started our foundation. Dr. Jimmy Andrews, I think everybody who knows anything about sports and and all the people he's worked with. He had a program back in the early 2000s called a STOP program, where it was teaching about really just sports safety for kids, high school kids and down. And so we kind of went to that below 14 age. I was kind of the coach on the board, and we got a law passed in Alabama, the first in the country. Then we've got another law passed. Georgia has a resolution. Arkansas has a law. Louisiana's passed a resolution. So we're taking this law in Alabama about training youth coaches with our course, and we're taking it all over the country. And then and this will be announced soon, but I can break it here. We've just inked a deal with Georgia Park and Rec to be a preferred partner to start selling our course to the Park and Rec folks in the state of Georgia.
And Bill, I want to dig a little deeper into that in just a moment. I'm not sure if you're aware, the market that we try to hit has two guys that kind of crossed paths with you. Down at South Alabama, one of their all-conference running backs, Trey Mentor, is from here at Schley County, right outside of Americus. And then during your days at UAB, offensive lineman Unique Crumbly, who is now offensive line coach at Sumter County High, was a guy that thought a whole lot of you. So we do have some local connections here.
Yes, we do. Well, I mean, two great ones right there. And hopefully they get to hear this, but if you get to see them, tell them I said hello.
Absolutely. Coach, you and I got reacquainted last year because of your position with Coach Safely and me being the president of Georgia Recreation and Parks last year. Tell our audience a little more about what Coach Safely does for that youth coach that may be a dad or a granddad that just comes out of the stands. How does it benefit them?
Yeah, and that's exactly who it's for. We know that we've got so many individuals that get out there just when they have their own kids. We've got folks that have done it 20 and 30 years because they just love it and love helping our kids. And here's the first, and I'm a football coach other sports early on, but this is for all sports ages, really 6 to 13. And we are training the coach, which is why we say Coach Safely. You can see my hat.
Yeah.
What we're doing, we have created an online course, take you right around an hour to take, that you can go in and take. We have 11 modules from heat illness to training, coaching the youth athlete, emergency preparation, all kind of things that a coach needs to know before they go out on the field. It's got 5 yes or no questions that they can take. You get prompts, you can take it again, and get certified to be a Coach Safely coach. We started this, like I said, this kind of birthed out in 2013 as I was following Jack, and we were talking about things we really need to do. We believe in coaches, and we want to give them the tools. So what's to happen, though, with us? We've been around for a while. We have just done a big rebrand. We have updated our course totally. And, of course, we're recognized by the NCYS, National Council of Youth Sports. We're recognized nationally for our safety. So we now have a new course, and here in about a week, the new course and the app is going to launch where you can get it right there on your phone. You can be out on the field looking at it. And then we're going to start adding video from coaches around the country with different techniques, maybe practice planning, etc. But first and foremost, it's a safety course that helps keep our kids safe. And here's what we say. If the coach is coaching safely, then why wouldn't you want your kids out there? And we're trying to get our kids off the couches and play and keep playing, and so, and I'd say it all the time. I used to tell my coaches, and I said this today on my radio show, we want to treat these kids like they're ours. And that's what these people are doing. They have other jobs. They're giving back of their time. So let's get them trained up the right way so they can go out there and keep our kids safe.
We are talking with Coach Safely President Bill Clark. Want to thank our friends over at Carter's Fried Chicken for sponsoring this segment of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Carter's is located at 206 Tripp Street in Americus. Owner Mike Shaddles and his staff have been feeding Southwest Georgia for more than 30 years. They offer daily lunch specials that include baked or fried chicken, plenty of vegetables, and the best desserts in town. They do it all at an affordable price. Carter's Fried Chicken is a supporter of all of our local area schools. Thanks again to Carter's for sponsoring this segment of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Bill, we talked a little bit about the benefit of a youth sports coach going through Coach Safely. I'd like to hear maybe some success stories that you've had. And when you get done, I want to tell you one that we had here locally.
Yeah, we had a little girl who ended up with an emergency. She had a concussion and had a brain bleed. Her mom had been coach safely trained, ended up saving the little girl's life by recognizing the signs of a severe head injury. And I get people all the time. It's kind of like now it's kind of getting to be a mixture of coachmen watched at UAB or Jack State or maybe back at Prattville. And now I'm getting a lot of coach safely stories because we've had so much success, and we're partnered directly with the Alabama Park and Rec Association hand in hand. And so, we've trained 70,000 plus coaches, not just in Alabama, but, across the country, but specifically Alabama. We've touched over 1 million kids. So there's all kinds of stories I get all the time about just making it safe, making it beautiful, what they've learned. So love to hear your story now.
Well, Bill, one of the things I really liked about the Coach Safely program was it hits on some areas that you don't normally see in other certification programs, specifically that of mental health. And then there was a segment in your first program that our department was a guinea pig for, and we loved it. And it talked about what do you do if you have a kid who has, let's say, a grandparent that passes away? How do you handle that kid at practice? Well, that's exactly what happened here. We had an 8-year-old kid. His granddad passed away. They were really close. And this coach came to me before the parent did and said, hey, if I had not watched this, I wouldn't have had a clue how to handle it. Well, postseason, that parent reached out and said, hey, I don't know if you've got an evaluation process for coaches or what, but when my dad passed away, this coach handled this perfectly. So I always encourage my compatriots in Georgia Recreation and Parks, anybody around here, take a look at the program. It really hits on some areas that are relative. I mean, that it applies to your situation. So I hope that's something that Coach Safely can use nationally. I'd be glad to tell anybody about it because I think it's a really good thing. Bill, I know you guys are evolving each year. You're kind of looking at how to improve the program each year. And the last update I received was that you guys are looking at possibly partnering with some folks to do background checks and maybe have liability coverage for some of your coaches. Tell us where we're at in that process.
Yeah, we're about to partner up, and we'll have a big announcement, but with the company called B-Checks, which is one of the top background check companies in the country. And obviously there's always a cost coefficient there, but what we know about B-Checks, I'm gonna brag on them a little bit, but they do the YMCAs across the country. They do tons of schools, which, dealing with a school, you've got to be above and beyond. They have a service every night where they're checking for sexual predators. So we're going to be partnered up with them. That'll be released soon. We're just getting ready to sign the contract, and you'll see that when you go in to take our course. You'll see B-Check sitting right there beside us. You'll have a chance to take that background course, which we know that's mandated in Georgia. So we want to be there at an affordable price just to give you that access, that ease of going in to take both. We're in the process right now. That's kind of one of my next steps, along with marketing, is to get this insurance part put in there to give it, just give you as a coach a chance to get you an affordable insurance policy. It's just good business, as we know, to be covered anytime you're dealing with other people. It's just good to have that insurance policy just to protect yourself. So that's that. The big thing is about to happen. The insurance part is on the horizon.
We hope you guys are enjoying our conversation with Bill Clark. I want to thank Marty McDonald at the Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance Agency, located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Americus. Drop by and see Marty, Mary Lynn, Blake, or any of their fine staff, and let them discuss your insurance needs. Of course, as a State Farm agency, they can always do that famous discount double check to make sure you're receiving all of the savings that are available to you. Give them a call at 928-3686 or look them up on Facebook. Thanks again to Marty McDonald State Farm. And remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coach, you were able to coach at the highest level, at the NCAA Division I level, where you guys had athletic trainers and medical staff on hand. when you're talking about sports programs for kids under the age of 14, and especially in low income areas, it's really vital for these coaches that you're training to get this basic training, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, and I could go by and I need to have these stories on hand with me just being the president since April. I've heard about them as a board member and as the vice president all those years, but now you go the people and we say underserved, and a lot of times people think underserved, that just means financially. A lot of times you're in rural areas and you have a hard time getting a medical treatment in a hurry, quickly. Right. And I think the fact that what we want is our course to do, this is an honest truth. I've got 2 kids and got spouses. I got 4 grandkids now. I told all my kids, I said, coach or not, you're going to have this on your phone, because to be able to understand how to deal with an AED, or, if somebody's choking, or CPR or heat, any of these things that I think that they need to know when it takes a minute to get to help, that's what we want.
And you said you guys have gotten this to be law in the state of Alabama, which I think is a great thing. Here in Georgia, one of the obstacles, I guess, is a stable funding source. I know in Alabama you have a partner that covers the cost of that. Where are we at in terms of looking at a stable funding source for the state of Georgia?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, what we were able to do when we got to Alabama, we did not have the whole course paid for, and just so you know, and I can go ahead and say this on the show, this is a $25 course. Yes. We've discounted it down to $15 for the state of Georgia. There's going to be a profit share that goes into the Recreation and Parks Association. We want to make it as cheap as we can. Now, I'll say this, the goal, and we've got great friends at Georgia with Ron Corson, who is assistant AD there. Was a head athletic trainer for a year. We had a great PSA from Georgia Tech as well, but Kirby Smart, I've known him forever. He did a PSA. David Pollock, Jim Donson. We got the baseball coach, the track coach. So we're using our influence to try and work down the road. That'll be something down the road that hopefully we can get some state funding to ease the burden. And you people say, well, it's $15. Well, we want to take that burden off the coach every chance we can. We're not there yet.
Hey, there we go. We got Bill Clark back with us.
Technical difficulties.
It happens. Coach, let me mention our last sponsor, Custom Auto Sales, located at 907 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Americus. Their owners, Jessica and Lance Stick, have been fixing your ride for 25 years. Now they want to help you buy one. They have recently added major banks and better financing for every credit situation. You can reach Custom Auto Sales by phone at 924-5558, or you can check them out online at www.customperformanceauto.com. Thanks to Custom Auto Sales for sponsoring the Integrity Sports Podcast. Here's probably the most important thing we can ask today, Bill. If folks are interested, they've watched this program, they're interested in, hey, I want to go online and take a look at this. How can they find your program online?
Yeah, go to coachsafely.org. You'll look on there and it'll connect you to a link which links you to the course. Should be pretty easy. It tells you how to do it. Like I said, there's a little fee on there right now. If you're outside the state of Alabama, but we're about to make that. That's going to be a $15 fee for everybody in the state of Georgia. So jump on there, check us out. If you got any questions, there's ways we can answer the questions on there. But we think it's a no-brainer, as I like to say. We think it's a no-brainer, and hopefully you go in there and enjoy the course.
Let me say personally, it's been a joy to work with you. I look forward to working with you more in the future as this progresses. And I really want to see the state of Georgia jump aboard the Coach Safely platform. I think it's the best thing I've seen. There's a lot of things out there, and most of them have good things about it. Coach Safely is certainly the best that I've seen.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. And appreciate you promoting sports. I know what you do for your local community, and as a former coach, that means everything. So thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. And we want to thank you for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Make sure and go to our YouTube page and hit the subscribe button. We're trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. Whatever platform you're watching on today, hit the like and share button. We are averaging over 3,500 views per week, and we want to see that continue to grow. Thanks again to our sponsors, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal, Carter's Fried Chicken, Custom Auto Sales, and Marty McDonald State Farm. For my friend Bill Clark, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everyone.